When people define a health and fitness goal, naturally they want to reach the goal ASAP. It feels good and satisfying to achieve a goal, and it's correct and natural that we would want to feel good and satisfied ASAP. The end game is that we want to feel good and satisfied, but whereas we often tie our satisfaction to our outcomes, it's more powerful and more useful and more efficient over the long term to just feel good and satisfied even before the goal is reached. So rather than wait for the transformation to happen before we allow ourselves to feel the satisfaction that we think the transformation will bring, instead we should just accept that our feelings of satisfaction occur because of our ability to appreciate who we are and what we look like today. And I respect that you already know this. Deep down, we all know it. And also, if you've been exploring this website, you've heard so many times that everything starts with appreciation of our present circumstances. Appreciation is the tool that allows us to experience our success. Without being able to appreciate today, without being able to feel good about our present circumstances, we would suffer these consequences. And the first consequence is that life would just not feel good to us. The second consequence is that our achievements would not make us feel as good as we thought that they would. And instead, as the saying goes, the grass would just always feel greener elsewhere. And the final consequence is that we may not even realize that we've achieved many of the goals that we've set out to reach. So it's just vital to feel good about our bodies as they are today. And we do that by appreciating the utilities of our bodies as they are today. For example, if you can hear this video, you have ample reason to feel amazing about the utility of your body. Appreciating your body such that you feel amazing about your body, that kind of appreciation takes practice, meaning you spend a great deal of time paying attention to what is going well with your body. And with that said, I want to get into this powerful truth about transformation. And here it is. Your physical transformation may not occur overnight. Meanwhile, your emotional transformation occurs in a matter of moments. And that is a very powerful truth about transformation. Thinking about your physical transformation, if you have excess body fat, you could have surgery to remove the fat, or you could have a kind of surgery that massively reduces your hunger, and such methods will rapidly transform your body. And I bet there are other rapid solutions. But if you're not someone who's utilizing a medical intervention, if you're not someone who's utilizing performance enhancement drugs, then there's a likelihood that your physical transformation will not happen overnight. And the good news is that it really does not need to. Consider this scenario involving Joe, who at 45 years of age is carrying about 40 pounds of body fat in excess of what he would like. Joe can recall being slender and energetic at the age of 20, and he assumes that the body fat and lack of energy is a product of his age. He tells people that everything was fine until he hit the age of 40, and then it was all downhill from there. And listening to his story, it'd be easy to assume that a high level of fitness is just unlikely as we get older. It would be easy to assume that our level of fitness is going to dramatically decline at a particular age. But these assumptions seem quite flawed when we consider all those people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, etc., that are still quite thin, still amazingly mobile, and still in good health. It's likely that Joe's level of fitness is not tied to his age. What is likely is that his emotional transformation occurred at the age of 40, which is the age where he reports that everything started to go downhill. Joe did not transform his body overnight. He did not gain 40 pounds overnight. More likely, from the time that he was 20 until the time that he turned 40, Joe accumulated body fat at a slow pace. Slow changes are not easily noticeable to us, so it feels like nothing is happening. When Joe looks in the mirror every day and compares himself to the way that he looked yesterday, he's not going to perceive much of a difference. So over that 20-year period, occasionally, as his clothes were getting tighter, he acknowledges that, yeah, maybe he's put on a little bit of weight, but it doesn't feel so awful to him to go from a size 32 pant to a size 34. And after a few more years, it doesn't feel so bad to go from a size 34 to 36. And after a few more years, it doesn't feel so awful to go from a size 36 to a size 38. Such small incremental changes do not greatly impact Joe's emotion. He may tell himself that he'll clean up his diet at some point and get back down to a size 36. But at age 40, Joe had an emotional transformation when someone that he had not seen in 10 years cracked a joke about him being fat. Joe had never thought of himself as being fat. He just felt average or normal for his age. And at age 40, even our loving friends and family will playfully crack jokes about our aging appearance. And when Joe's friend playfully called Joe fat, Joe felt something that he had not felt before. He felt badly about his body. And he recalled fitting into pants that were size 32 when he was 20 years old. Now, at age 40, he's in a size 38. As he makes that kind of a comparison, he perceives a very large contrast between who he is today and who he used to be. And this comparison makes him feel badly. And as he returns to old photo albums or old pictures of himself on his phone, he sees a different person as compared to who he sees in the mirror today. And that feels awful to him. And that would feel awful to any of us. Joe's awful emotion, which was the result of his new dissatisfaction with his body, Joe's awful emotion originated and grew within a matter of moments. And it was only a few moments after his friend cracked a joke about his weight. Suddenly, at age 40, the way that Joe felt about himself changed. And suddenly, at age 40, Joe began to feel like it was all downhill from there. So Joe's physical transformation took 20 years, but his emotional transformation took 2 minutes. This is powerful knowledge because knowing this will empower Joe and any of us who are like Joe to transform back into the people that we want to be. So we all undergo some level of emotional transformation. We all experience a kind of dissatisfaction with our bodies as we compare what we look like against what we want to look like. We have excess body fat, when we have excess body fat, we feel dissatisfied when we compare ourselves to those who are quite thin. And when we have relatively little muscle mass, we feel dissatisfied when we compare ourselves to those who are quite muscular. We experience an emotional transformation in a matter of moments. And this emotional transformation lets us know that there's something new that we want. And that's a good thing. Our dissatisfaction shines a bright light on what we want. And that makes dissatisfaction useful. But a prolonged state of dissatisfaction will adversely impact our quality of life and it will hinder our success. So we cannot afford to remain dissatisfied. We have to regain a sense of satisfaction about our bodies, and the sooner the better. Appreciation of our bodies and awareness of the utility of our ability to hear, see, taste, touch, etc. as a baseline, all that's enough to help us feel good about our bodies right now. So as we take our attention from the body that we want and we move our attention to the positive aspects of the body that we have right now, we're going to again feel satisfied. So all of your attention has to remain on your own body, specifically the qualities of your own body. And your attention has to stay there until you feel so happy about your body, even with the excess body fat or even with the lower levels of muscular development. And this is real. It's very doable. Naturally, life's going to make it challenging for you to do this. So you might spend weeks or months learning to keep your attention on the positive aspects of your body. It might take some time to create a stable sense of satisfaction about who you are. And you just do this by keeping your attention on the aspects of your body that you genuinely appreciate. So you'll know that it's time to think about your physical transformation when you can be aware of your excess body fat or lower muscle mass and you still feel good about yourself and you still feel excited to create the fabulous body that you know you want. So for me, this kind of self-confidence will come and go. When I started applying the strategy, it took a while for me to just appreciate my body as is. And furthermore, to this day, I experience short periods of dissatisfaction with my own body. When I compare what I look like today versus what I want to look like, that creates a natural dissatisfaction. But this is temporary. And whenever I feel whenever I feel that uncomfortable feeling, I know that I should move my attention back to what I genuinely appreciate about my own body, and I again feel happy with who I am today. That temporary dissatisfaction serves me as it reminds me about what I want, and it keeps me focused on doing all that I can to care for, to support, and to improve my body. But that dissatisfaction, it absolutely has to be temporary. So whenever I feel dissatisfied, I just pay attention to what I love about me. So in appreciating my body, such that I feel great about my body as it is right now, by doing this, I create an emotional transformation. And it's just like Joe's emotional transformation in that it only takes a few moments to transform because I'm well practiced at appreciating my body. For Joe and anyone like him, it would only take a few moments for him to reverse his emotional transformation and again feel great about his body. And this can happen as long as he gets good at remembering that his ability to hear or walk or feel things, these abilities are precious and worth feeling great about. And when Joe remembers this, he'll have an emotional transformation in a matter of moments. And so now as he feels good about himself, he can work on his physical transformation. And quite often, people in Joe's shoes want quick results. And actually, quite often we all want these quick results. But the physical transformation that we want is just a catalyst that will cause us to feel great about who we are. What we really want is to feel great about who we are, but we already should feel great, and we can feel great if we just appreciate our bodies as they are today. As such, we no longer need to rush the transformation. Over a 20-year period, Joe gained 40 pounds. And that means that Joe gained 2 pounds a year. That means that Joe gained 1 pound every 6 months, or 0.16 pounds for every month. And this is an average over 20 years. More likely, some years he gained 3 pounds, while in others he didn't gain weight at all. And in some years he may even have lost weight. But over 20 years, he gained an average of 2 pounds a year. And let's really think about what this means. Joe does not eat as terribly as he thinks. Sure, he could stand to cook at home more and eat more vegetables, but his diet was not to extreme excess. It was only to slight excess. His transformation was almost unnoticeable to him. It wasn't until a 20-year period passed that he realized, oh crap, I've picked up 40 pounds of body fat that I do not need. He didn't struggle to eat more. He didn't try hard to do anything. His transformation was easy because it was not based on extreme measures. It was based on a slight excess over time. To Joe, this transformation seemed to happen quickly around the age of 40 because that's when his emotional transformation occurred. His emotional transformation was quick, but his physical transformation took 20 years. And if Joe wants to reverse his transformation, he's got to start with the emotional transformation. Appreciate what's going well with his body. So yeah, he's got 40 pounds of excess body fat, but if you have your 5 senses, if you can walk and talk, you've got ample reason to feel great, and the emotional transformation is just about focusing on what's actually going well right now. Joe's emotional transformation must come first, and it will be relatively quick when he's good at appreciating all of the qualities of his body. His physical transformation does not need to take another 20 years. He can do it quite easily in 2 to 3 years if he's exceptionally great at appreciating his body. And if he's very focused on his transformation, he can even do it in 10 to 12 months. But he really should not rush it. If you look at people who rush results, you will notice that a high percentage of them quickly regain fat. If you look at people who attempt to rush muscle gain, you'll notice that many of them either get injured or they gain fat instead of muscle. And so if you look at people who take their time with any kind of creation, a state-of-the-art construction project, a timeless piece of art, or an eye-catching chiseled body, these people create these results over time, and they're consistently focused on creating new results. So your body needs time to adjust to the changes that you make to your diet and exercise, and it needs time to shift and utilize your fat cells for energy. And there's going to be times when it just needs you to eat more than what your diet is asking for. So you have to work with your body, and you have to trust your body. You have to know that when your body tells you that it's hungry, you should feed it. You can use high fiber and high protein strategies to combat hunger and cravings for junk food. But if the craving occurs anyway, just satisfy the craving. And if you play the long game, you will create the change that you want to see. If you play the long game, you're going to feel good about yourself, even when you're enjoying that giant burger and deep fried French fries. Most importantly, if you play the long game, you're going to create the result and you're going to keep it. So if you want the lean body, if you want muscular development, if you want great health, you can have it and you can keep it with ease if you just play the long game. And playing the long game is easy whenever you're in high appreciation of your body, as it is today. And so the emotional transformation comes first, and it can occur in a matter of moments. The physical transformation follows, and it will happen in whatever time it takes. Sometimes it does take some real time. I began a physical transformation in July of the year 2021, and it was April of 2022 before I saw any significant changes, but the changes were lasting. And my levels of body fat and muscular development do fluctuate regularly. Some weeks my fat drops. Some weeks my fat rises. Some weeks I get bigger and stronger, and then there are some weeks where I seem to lose some strength. And overall, however, I am much leaner and much more muscular than I was when I started this physical transformation 18 months ago. The powerful truth about transformation is that what we really want is the emotional transformation. We want to feel healthy, sexy, and desired. That's what we want. It's a particular feeling that we want, and we can access that feeling right now just by appreciating our bodies as they are today. That mental shift changes everything. The physical transformation usually does not happen overnight, and as we try to rush the transformation, we make life unnecessarily hard. We often do not keep the results when we try to rush the transformation. So give it a minimum of 10 months to create a change, and the change is going to be lasting. Give it a minimum of 6 months of focus on fitness before you start looking for physical progress. Much of the progress that you will make is not even visible to the eye. Your body needs time to adjust, so give your body the time that you need. If you'll do this, your A level of fitness is inevitable. Sending good vibes.